Well, I loved the quote in your little red catalog resume,
Yeah.
where you talk about the difference between composing. I actually wrote it down here because it inspired me. You said composition is sometimes a struggle, but orchestration, while it's tedious, is more rewarding and easy. It's like playing with a chemistry set, you said.
Yeah, I've never thought of it as a job. I've always thought of it as a piece of luck. That it's something I like to do.
Yeah.
I've managed to make a living doing it, either teaching it or doing it, actual composing. And I feel blessed that in that sense. I don't know a lot of composers. Sure, it's a struggle. There are times when you beat your head against the wall to try to find the right note. But the rewards for it are I think also, and I resonate, I never think of my music as pieces. I don't know where that term came from, because that implies little separate entities. I think of my music as just one long piece from the earliest things published, not counting a couple of things I threw away before that, up to now, as all sort of, in a sense, movements of the same work. And that work is me. I mean, that's true with every composer.
You feel like you dip your pen in the stream of Argento when you're
it formed a portrait of the composer or whoever wrote the music. And sometimes you look at it from this angle or that angle, but it's always, I think, the same. I'm always reminded of, I think it was the French or Henry James, Daudet may have said it, but a man doesn't write many books, he writes the same book many times. And I've always applied that, for example, to Beethoven. There are not Beethoven's 9 symphonies. There are 9 ways of writing a symphony that Beethoven tried out. But they're all essentially, even the first symphony, and I included 9th in that, of course, and all that nonsense, that all of that is just Beethoven writing a symphony. And I don't mean that in the insulting way that Stravinsky did when he talked about Vivaldi didn't write 500 concerto grossi. He wrote the same one 500 times. That's different. But I think most composers write the same book many ways, and composers write the same music.
I want to ask you about the pattern I see in your music that where you're often borrowing from things historical, even sometimes lifting exact quotes and putting it into something that is woven into something fresh.
Yes, I've done that all my life. As a matter of fact, I think of the earliest things I wrote 65 years ago, and I was already doing it then. I've come to believe that I do it because it makes me feel like I'm part of the community of composers. That when I'm borrowing from Wagner, it's partly admiration. And even when I'm making fun of it, I wouldn't borrow from him unless it was. But I like to think that all of music, I've used a sort of arrogant expression once. I've said that all of music is my oyster. I can borrow a cabaret tune by Kurt Weill, or borrow something, even I have borrowed from Schubert, believe it or not. So there are no limits, but I'm in love with music in a way. I don't think I've ever used that expression before. I don't think I've ever said it. But I have been in love with music. And the fact that I've been allowed to live a life that dwelled in it is just, for me, something to be very, very grateful for.